little story that I heard yesterday. Yeah, it goes the headlines, man. They all just go to plan. They're framed and fixed and rigged. You know they're all just spam. So buckle down, plug right in, and close its way under your skin. Just got about from the things they spout, and it won't make you shout. Give me that good news, because I'm tired of the same old shit. That good news, because I'm tired of the same old shit.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to The Grounds with Giles and Jones. I'm Giles, and he's Jones, an interesting radio show, internet radio show, where we talk about everything from peanut butter to politics, but no politics, right, Jer?
Who?
I was just
You
thinking
said-
about your cash.
Just show me cappuccino.
Cappuccino, if you listen. Yeah,
Oh Lord!
all right,
I
let's
quit.
let's reboot.
I quit.
It's Friday.
All right. Hey, shout out to our good friends over at Natural Therapy Wellness Center. www.mchenrymassage.com, 815-385-8190. And of course, our good friends at JH Events and Flowers. A little snowy, a little cold. Nothing warms up a home better than a nice bouquet of flowers. Now,
Yeah,
two
I'm there.
locations, one in Fox Lake, one right here in McHenry. And awesome people over there. So it's all right. It's exactly what we were talking about in the green room. So his brain is going that direction. JHEfenceandflowers.com. To share or not to share is what Scott wants to talk about. And of course, there's Uncle Pete. You take that URL and you throw that right into your URL up there at the top of your screen. And you can come in and be part of this wonderful broadcast and show. So come on in, and we'll see you when you get in. But hey,
You can actually probably watch me cry this morning.
yeah, well, you got
I'm
a kick
laughing
out of
so
that.
hard. I don't know where the hell that came from. I mean, we were talking about.
I know where it came from. That's where your brain was at. That's all right.
That's funny.
So Drew,
That's
it's just
too funny.
you're gonna want to give us a call.
Yeah, if your ears are ringing, we were talking about you, or if you're watching us,
absolutely.
it was all good convo. So
Yep,
that's funny.
that's it. All right, to share or not to share.
Yeah, to share or not to share. So, the other day I was talking to somebody, and they made me. I was talking to somebody. They made me think they're having an issue with something they're doing, and they actually brought it up to me. And after the conversation, and we shared some information back and forth, he's like, "Oh man, I wish I would have been told that sooner, because it would have saved me so much headache." And I'm like, "Well, why didn't you ask?" He's like, "Because I'm afraid." And I finally did. I said, "So would you prefer that somebody come up to you and say, 'Hey, I see, or I can see possibly that you're struggling with an issue, or this is one of the things that I've done,' right?" Like, because for me, I'm a problem. I like problem solving, right? And I like helping people solve problems. But for me, for many years, I didn't do it either. I didn't come out to people and ask them. I wanted to fix it myself because I'm just I'm a man. I can do it myself.
I'm a man.
But, for me, I would have loved, sometimes people come up to you and try to stick their own 2 cents in where it's not needed, right? Yeah, and that's the problem. That's why I said to share or not to share, right? When you see somebody like a friend or a family member, somebody that is going through something, and you assume, I guess you would have to, that, they could use a little bump, a little kick, or a little information, right? When do you ever even do that? How do you judge when you do tell somebody or help somebody out, or in your mind, if you think you're helping somebody out, to give them a little leg up or a little information that they might not have had that could help them further themselves?
All right. So to make this easier for me, give me an example. Create an example where you're thinking, should I share or should I not share? So let's do like a problem story. Because
right. No, I get what you're saying.
Because this could be a relatively really short show, because I would say just keep your fucking mouth shut.
Well, right. And now
we're done.
Right. And that's the reaction that a lot of times I would have, would come to my head.
Morning,
just
Shana.
Leave me alone. Who are you to tell me? Because a lot of people, a decent amount, and I was too proud to take advice because I could do it myself. But clearly, when somebody has the information that you need and are able to share it with you to help you forward, I like that. Obviously, there's a time and a place, and that's why I went to share, not to share. When do how do you know when it would be an appropriate thing to help somebody or to give them, I'll call them nuggets of information to better themselves, right? Like, I'm trying to create this example in my head for you so I could make it a little bit more, I don't even know. So,
right.
Like, banking, right? Yeah. I don't. Yeah. I know how to make money. Yeah. I can save it. I can spend it pretty damn well, but I don't know the banking industry, right?
Right.
And you see me as a friend, and I've got these opportunities, but I don't know how to use my money.
Yeah.
Right. Or to use my credit.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I would relish when somebody like you that's so smart would say to me, hey, I know you've been doing this and the other. Have you, just like the loan that we did last year, right? Have you thought about this?
Yeah.
Right. Not to be like that you'd be saying to me, I'm stupid, but hey, I've got some information that may help move you forward.
Yeah.
Right. And why not? That's for me. Me. I like to help people. And
so Shana says half the time she's catching up to her mouth.
And, that's me too.
and Nate says, if they open up to you, then share. If they seem distant, leave it alone. That's exactly what I mean. Yeah.
Well, right.
Right.
But like in my case, like I was saying with you, so let's run with that one. You knew that what I was trying to do a few things, right? I talked to you about it, and you came to me and you said, hey, look, this is what I think, right? Yeah. Where a lot of people will just be like, oh, okay, interesting, right? And let it go, because you don't want people to feel like you're prying into their business, right? Or trying to talk to them and say, like, you don't know what you're doing, because most of us don't know what we're doing. We're just doing what we know and trying to better ourselves or move forward, right? So I appreciated that. And then we ended up putting a good deal together for me.
Right.
Right. And you made some money out of it. I got my thing, and I was appreciative of that. But some people, right, might take that as a hit, right? Does that make sense?
So if we stay in the banking, Nate can relate with this. Nate's been in banking as well. Here's the deal. I run under the guys that a profit is not a profit in their hometown. Y'all know that I'm in banking. Y'all know that I do loans. If you don't ask me and you fall flat on your face, I don't really give a fuck. I've had family members not use me for loans, and then I hear that they had a bad experience. I don't care.
Yeah.
And I look at them and go,
these are people that you love.
Yeah. I look at them and go, yeah, that's interesting. I would have done it much different, but you didn't call me. So guess what? Right.
Yeah. And I now, are these people that you're like, and I know that you're saying family, but that you're close to, that you actually share and kind of really what's going on in their lives?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
So I just go, well, they obviously didn't want me to know their business. And that's why that's cool. Whatever.
And that's and for banking, that is a tough one, because not a lot of people.
But I'm not shoving my nose in there.
Right.
Shana says, I speak to strangers. I spun this young guy when I complimented his hair and kept walking. He couldn't help but smile, but it startled him.
Yeah, because he probably doesn't not used to people being nice and giving him compliments. I mean, good morning, Don.
Don's hanging out at the airport, off to L.A., but he's dropping in for a few moments. You're going to be out there on Wednesday in L.A.? I'm going to be in the L.A. area on Wednesday. Let me know, Don. I move intuitively, and strangers come to me too, says Shana. Right?
they gravitate. So, maybe it's your energy.
So for me, I mean, this question to me, I don't. You seem to care. It feels like you seem to care. I don't. Right? And that's why I pose things as a question. Have you thought of this? And I just drop a nugget and walk away. Right? If they're like, oh, well, hey, tell me more about it. But so I'm in a referral group with some people,
right,
who are good business owners here in McHenry who recently purchased a home. They know what I do. They chose not to use me, right? And that's okay, right? Again, a lot of people would get upset and go, man, what? You idiots, I'm in your referral group. We've done business. I've done business with them. They've earned my business, right?
Right.
So if I was worried about why they chose me or didn't chose me, it would ruin a day.
Well, yeah, you can't worry about
right.
Right. You can't worry about it.
So again, I'm like, there's plenty of business out there for everybody. Okay. So, do I get upset? Nope. Did I look at them side-eyed? Nope. Because they got into the house of their dreams, and I love them for that.
Yeah.
Right. Now, did they use you? Yep. Right. And that's okay. So with the share to not to share, it makes me feel like you're thinking, what are those people going to judge me as? Or am I going to, right? So to me, I don't, listen.
No, I don't look at it at all as a judgment.
Right. So then
I don't look at it as
the
a
question,
judgment.
I guess.
Well, so for me, I am a people pleaser. And I don't even really necessarily say people pleaser. I like people to enjoy and excel and have fun at what they want to do if they want to do it.
Now,
right? And if I can help somebody to push past a point that they're stuck at, so
stay with me, and I think I'll create a better question for you. Most of the time, when I try to help someone, I never tell them how to handle the situation. I just tell them how I would do things, but I'm not the best example.
Yeah, you don't ever tell anybody how to. Suggestions, right?
And you also don't have a filter, Nate. So,
good morning, morning, Drew. Shana, right now, you're actually sitting next to me, according to my mouth this morning.
Shana says, "I don't want a person in a service industry that doesn't care. I pay to have professional care." Right. And Drew says, "What people think of me is none of my business." So I don't think that you're saying when to share, not to share. Your issue is oversharing. When do you cut off? Right. So.
That could, right? You could put it down that alley.
You're good at oversharing, and what I mean by that is, you throw it out there. I'll ask a question. Hey, have you thought of? Right. And then you'll say, hey, have you thought of? Kind of like we talked about the other week. Hey, have you thought of? Because the windshield's going to scratch. It's going to crack when it gets below zero. You're going to end up having to go to get a rental car.
Right.
And then your kidney's going to go out, and your mother's going to go die. Right.
Right. So, yeah, I go way past the initial thought.
Right. So
absolutely.
Is it to share, or do I overshare? And when is it okay to overshare? Or is it ever okay to overshare?
Well, I don't think it's ever okay to overshare.
Because I believe Nate says the only thing I filter is my coffee. Thank you very much.
Coming to you soon in McHenry.
Yeah. So get in touch with the Vixen, Nate.
No coffee at the Vixen. We don't want you. Well, I guess we do want you awake. Yeah, free cappuccino at the Vixen.
So
good show tonight too.
I don't know. Nobody invites me to things. I got a basketball game I got to go to.
I was gonna say, do you have time?
Lucy's playing basketball tonight. So.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Good morning, Lisa. Glad to have you with us.
Good morning, Lisa. So,
again, for all you Facebook people, thanks for joining us on YouTube, following, and subscribing as we're trying to build our YouTube presence so that I can retire someday. But just stay on Facebook. We love
You'll never retire. You're just like me. Just let you enjoy what
I
you do.
Just want to
we were talking about earlier.
I just want to throw some guilt to those people with the blue F in the front of their names.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, so I think that's the issue, because I don't think anybody cares if you're like, oh, hey, you know what? You're leaking oil, right? But it's like, you know what? You're leaking oil, and it's probably because you haven't changed your oil, and because of this, and because of that, and because of this. Right. People don't have or want an entire. Oh, there you are. Thank you, Lisa. People don't want an entire diatribe of stuff unless it's asked for.
Correct.
And that's what you tend to give people, right?
Yeah, the Scott talk, right, which is never meant to come off that way. And we talked about this last week, right?
So is it okay to share? And when is it, when do you stop? At what point in the encyclopedia do you stop the share?
Right. And that's kind of why I brought it up. It's a very valid point. Like you brought up marketing connection group, right?
Yeah.
Let me ask you, why do you go to a marketing connection group?
The reason that I go is so that when and I'm different than most people. It's so that when one of my customers go, I go, I gotta. Okay, I don't go there for
reference.
Right.
Okay. So what do you think most people go to marketing groups for?
If you bolster their business, to get business.
Right?
Yeah.
See, for me, yes, I mean, when I go there, I want to make the connections to help, down the way, maybe get some business out of it. But I also go to them for information, for knowledge, right? To see, like, when you sit around, what's the one on Tuesday morning?
You ain't swimming in a deep pool in a lot of those referral groups.
Right. Well, and so that's why I don't really go to them anymore. Because for me, I want to go in there and I want to know how you are, how the family's going, so to speak, right? What's going on. But like I said, I'm a problem solver. I like solving problems. I like helping other people solve problems because it's just, I enjoy it. I don't know why. Maybe I'm a sick individual, right? But it comes full circle, right? You give, you get. So, but for me, I like to go in and actually talk to people. Yeah, I want to know what they do. And like I said, their family, how things are. But what are you doing? What are you working on? How's it going? What's working for you? What's not working for you? Right? Because then if you can help better the other people in the community gets better. You have a better place to live. I mean, the ripple effect, like throwing the stone in the water, right? You help a person, they help a person, do. And you're actually gaining something. You're moving forward. You're gaining something instead of what the marketing groups most of them that I've experienced have been, boasting on yourself, trying to get you to, do a home inspection with me, right? Instead of, hey, you're working on this. Hey, I know I'm a home inspector, but I used to do this and I was working with this and this really worked well for me. Has the industry changed? It's obviously how you're going to pose your share with these people. But that's what I like. And that's why I stopped going, because it just became, social drinking hour, right?
So Lisa says, as the queen of overshare, I have to be conscious of it and force myself to shut up. Joe Turner, how are you? Joe Turner.
Good morning.
Good morning. See live here, 216 The Net this
He's
afternoon.
On Facebook too.
This afternoon at 3 p.m. for In the Know with Steph and Joe, talking about, hey, new year. You got some new ideas, and what are you implementing in your small business? So that might be one that you want to turn into because you like that kind of stuff.
So that's what like podcasts and stuff are. There's people sharing their lives experiences, and we choose to tune in or not, and that's.
So Joe says, I like the details when talking to someone. So give me the deets. When talking to others, I read their body language and try to respond based on the human that I'm talking to. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, that's what we said earlier. You have to learn to read the room, right? Because you never want to come off as pompous or arrogant or anything like that. Because I truly enjoy helping people. I mean, that's why, like doctors become doctors. They're helping people, right? And
Cappuccino. And of course, let me just shout out to Drew. Check out Monday at 5 p.m. Brand new show. Big body, bigger mouth. Young lady who is she's going to go viral. She's really, really cool, Kelsey. And she's got a really cool show. And of course, the show is Big Body, Bigger Mouth. So you can imagine she's not a petite gal. And she's got big opinions, and it's a really, really, really cool show.
When you said, I hadn't heard this one, but when you said that, I thought about Cappuccino, right?
Yeah.
He says, I have the habit of oversharing. And Drew, you know what I got to say about that is it's because you're Italian, man. I mean, it's what it is, right? I mean, it's the Italian way. So, but that's awesome. I can't wait to listen to that one. And then In the Know with Steph and Joe, right? So those are the informative things.
Better to overshare than to overthink, Cappuccino says.
Yes, I like that one.
I think if you're authentic and kind, you share wisdom, Facebook user says. It's not selfless idiots. It's not
selfless idiots that make life more difficult, right? Like, I think she's saying somebody. I think
whoever Facebook user
right,
is.
Trying to get whoever they have, trying to mess with you, screw you up, right? I mean, because some people want to share advice that's bad, right? To screw you up and to screw you over, right? And there are people out there like that, unfortunately. I mean, and we talk about this all the time when how we raise the kids and telling them this is the way it is.
Lisa says uncontrollable overshare is often a trauma response and lack of confidence. You are seen and or heard.
Uncontrollable overshare. Obviously, that's an issue. I mean,
good Lord, I sit behind a microphone for a lot of time. I don't give a shit. I mean, I don't. You brought up this topic, and I'm like,
I knew this one would get underneath your crawl.
well,
and that's why
it's a dumb question.
Well, no, it's not.
Yeah.
No, it's not. Why? No question's dumb if you really don't have the answer or you want some more information, right? It may seem like a non-important question to you, right? It's not dumb, because if you need information and you have a question, you don't ask it, you're the one that's being dumb, because you can get an answer. So I like to know what everyone else thinks, because I know kind of how you think, but I don't know 100% because I'm not in your head. Same with other people. I like to know. I really enjoy trying to figure out also, what makes people tick or how people tick, because I enjoy the diversity. I enjoy the differences, right? I mean, and this is where I think, I'm different than a lot of people, because I do care about people. I do like to help people, right? And I'm fascinated by different personalities and ideas, and also, like I said, love helping people. I enjoy it because the things that it's done for me when people have, some have overshared, too much, but that's for me to process through if I want. And I always have the option as the person that's getting talked to be like, to shut you down, walk away, not listen. So I would rather have the opportunity to listen to somebody's knowledge than to not get it, right? Because I can choose whether I'm going to accept that or not, or if I need it, if it's going to help enrich my life from mentally, physically, emotionally, whatever, financially. So
you said something. There's no dumb question, but if you don't ask the question, you're dumb.
Yeah.
Okay? So let me comment on that.
And it's
I don't understand that.
Right. So and I did miss. So there's no such thing as a dumb question. The only dumb question is the one that you don't ask. Right. So
that's like saying you'll never score, or you miss 100% of shots you don't take. No, right. You don't ever miss a shot you don't take. You don't have the ability to score. Yeah.
It's more you got to shoot to score.
So
right.
The only dumb question is when you don't ask. That's not a question then. So that statement is dumb.
Okay, tear it apart. But I mean,
I'm just
right.
saying,
But well, it's right. Okay, and I get where you're coming from, and it's not coming off maybe as exact way I'm meaning it. But if you have a question and you don't ask it, and then shame on you, I guess, right? Because if you want information, right, but you're afraid to ask for it. I mean, I get it. Some people just are introverted or whatever, just don't want. But if you have it and you want to seek that knowledge, you need to find it. That's one thing that's good about having the internet. That you can go out there and ask these questions, right? But it's also one of these things that you're also going to get a million different potential responses. And for me, I prefer human interaction than looking at a screen or typing into Google, or you know what I mean. So I appreciate it. I don't want people to overshare like crazy. I don't want to know your entire life story, right? But I also, I like to get to know people as humans, and if I can help them out and it's not hurting me, more power, more fun.
Right, but what if it's not welcome? And all of a sudden you're
that's right, right.
Hey.
Right, and that's why I said to share or not to share, because you have to read the room. I mean, that is the big thing, and that's right, and that's why I wanted to see what people think about it. Because
so Nate's oversharing.
That's a good sentence. I like
it. Nate says, I just helped a lady working at a gas station as I was passing through Kansas City for work. Her response was, "Thank you for the help. Half the time, no one notices me." My response was, "How could no one notice that beautiful smile?" Told her to have a good day, and ended up with a free coffee. The free coffee wasn't the objective. And when you say free coffee, quote unquote, I mean, was it coffee? I don't know what happens in gas stations in Kansas City. This must be your dad, right? Okay. It says, none of us have all the answers in this world. Sharing is a form of learning for each of us.
Absolutely. But I guess with your statement there, though, Bob, is when is the time to share?
Sharing is a form of learning for each of us. Help me understand that. So if I'm oversharing, it's learning for me, or is it, or Scott, because I'm oversharing on something Scott didn't necessarily ask for, he's learning like, oh, gee, thanks for all that information. Well, didn't need to know that.
So, right, depending on the person you're talking to and how they take it, the information is there for them to gather. Whether it was asked for or not, obviously that's part of the situation. That's why I say to share, not to share, right?
And then now Lisa's wrong, right? Because I know people that ask questions for the sake of talking, and often they are dumb questions. No, Scott said there's no such thing as a dumb question.
If you're looking for the information. But yeah, I mean, I see her point, right? But some people do just want to talk, and that's why they ask. But for me, the questions, the motives behind my questions, I feel are genuine, right? I mean, I'm not asking you a question because I won't ask you a question when I don't really care. I'm not going to waste my time or my breath. I mean, time is valuable. That's the only thing we can't get any more of in this world. We can get friends, we can get money, we can get whatever we need, but we can't get time. So I'm not going to waste my time if I'm not genuinely interested in you, or just have some sort of.
But I needed to share that with you, and now you're blowing me off.
Well,
now I think you're a jerk.
Right. Well, and that's why I say to share or not to share. Reading the room. So that is really the biggest thing that comes out of this conversation, is you're going to have to be astute and be able to understand the energy in the room, and if this is really the time and the place for it, and if the person really wants it. Some people, just they won't listen to anybody no matter what. They've got to do it their way, no matter what. You're wrong. You're an idiot.
So Eric says we're 19 days into 2024. Part of me thinks show grace to you. Part of me thinks let's go, no mercy, grind. Both are appropriate. I think the magic is in the middle, grace and growth. So much more in 24. That's Megan, his wife, and his motto for this year. My motto for this year is let the bodies hit the floor in 24. Let's
go.
Whoa.
That's a crazy song.
Shana says, I learned to avoid people that have patterns that aren't for me. I need to see the pattern first. I'm terminally curious and watch for the glazed over look to move on. Working on it. LOL. Yeah, I'm so much the same way, Shana. And for a lot of my life, and I don't know if this is true for you, is for a lot of my life, I attracted the weird because I did take time to listen, right? I would just, hey, oh, you're weird. And I'm having a conversation with a total stranger who smells like urine and stale cigarettes in a gas station, right? And I've got things to do, but I'm like, oh, they're talking, and let me just, continue talking, because I thought maybe I would make a difference in their day, whatever.
You might have.
Right? It doesn't matter. Right? The fact of the matter is, I probably appreciated their time more than I appreciated my time. And I get out of there and go, well, that's an hour I'll never get back. Much of you say the same thing every Friday at 8:30. I was like, well, that's an hour I'll never get back. But thank you for joining us. And so you have to learn to go, hey, and now I am the weird. You're right. But to me, to me, I love everybody equally and hate everybody equally.
Right. I know you say that all the time.
What I'm saying?
No, I get it.
If you ask me for something, I'm going to give it to you. Okay. If you don't, and you fall flat on your face, I don't give a fuck that you fell flat on your face. And I could look at you and go, told you so, but I didn't, because you didn't ask. Right. And you're like, oh, but you saw them setting the gasoline can on fire. You should have said something. Well, I might have said, you sure you know what you're doing? And they ignored me, whatever. Right.
So, all right. So let me pose this question to you then. Let's get really down and dirty. I'm in financial trouble, right? And you have a product that could get me out of that.
Yep.
But I'm too ashamed to ask you.
Yep.
We're best buds, right? We're tight.
Yeah, we're tight.
You're not going to say anything. You're going to watch me go down in flames.
If I would have asked a question to you,
no,
have you thought of this? And if you're like, and you don't answer or respond or anything, then I'll watch you go down in flames, because that's your mistake.
Right. But I don't say jack shit to you, right? But somehow right? I mean, because it's just the way it is. And the information gets around. Be like, Scott, hey,
No. You're not hearing what I'm saying. I wouldn't go silent. I would ask you a question. Are you sure you know what you're doing?
Right. So you would, right. And if I didn't respond to that, right. So if you open the door and I don't ask for it, then that's reading the room, right? Then you can say, all right, well, he doesn't want anything. But then unfortunately or fortunately, kind of know, in the back of my head, I'm going, shit, if I've been in a situation like this before, type of thing, like, is he just too afraid to ask, right? Is he ashamed? Even though
I don't
maybe
care.
he's just trying to play it off. Well, okay, and that's fine.
That's
you
your
don't
life, not my life.
Right. Okay. But for me, as a friend of a person and just a human being, right, I do care. And maybe that is a downfall in a certain respect, but doesn't God teach you to care about all of his children?
It's not that I don't care about you.
Right.
It's that you didn't ask me for that. You knew what I did, right? So you don't trust me enough to ask. I asked you a question.
Right.
You chose not to
respond. Right.
And
if I chose not to respond,
it's
that's
not my job
right.
to try to keep you from falling.
Right.
I asked. I threw you. Right. It's that old story.
You gave me the life ring that I didn't grab.
It's that old story. Right. Why am I in heaven? Listen, I sent a truck. I sent a boat. I sent a helicopter. You kept denying it.
Right.
That's why you're dead now in the flood.
Right. Right.
Hey, I threw it out there. I threw you the ring.
But you
now it's none of my business.
Okay. And I totally get that.
Right.
I totally appreciate that response. Right. I fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to look at, would go a little bit deeper with that one, because if I'm able to help somebody that can't help themselves for whatever reason at that point,
that you think can't help themselves. Well, if you've made that judgment, I don't make that judgment.
I guess you could look at it that maybe I did make that judgment and assumed into things possibly. And that could be an issue. And that's something of reading the room and trying to understand the whole situation. Right. But for me, and that's why it's to share or not to share, right? Like at what point, and obviously everything's different, but for me, it's just like, DDOE was started to help, daily dose of encouragement to help people out. So if you can help somebody, granted, you don't want to.
I can't force people to watch or tune in.
Right. You can't. Exactly. Right. I can't. But you can share with people, and it kind of totally jumps different, but you can share with people that it's here, and it's up to them if they want to come and actually join the podcast or listen to the station, because you got so many great shows, right? You threw the information out there. You gave them the information, whether they use it or not. And that's what I'm kind of getting at. When you share, hopefully what you're trying to do is share information that maybe that person can use, right? The point is when to, when not to. And like I said, it's different in every situation. But for me, that's what a friend, a husband, a wife, a father, a dad, a cousin, an uncle, at least in your immediate circle, should at least be cognizant of, right?
Why ever take training wheels off a bicycle?
Well, so they can fall and learn to ride by themselves.
Okay.
Right. But but you have to give them the information, the knowledge, how to do it. Right. And then take that information, how to get back up and keep doing it. Right. And giving the information, be like, look, you're going to fall a few times.
Not if you keep those wheels on. Why not just keep those training wheels on? That's what I'm saying. Why ever take them off?
Freedom. Different situation.
I don't want you to fail. I don't want you to fall. Just keep them on. You're 55 years old. Keep those training wheels on.
Right.
I
mean, I do see what you're saying, right? But if you do leave them on, you're also going to hinder them by not giving them the opportunity, the information, how to progress. Maybe because if they leave the training wheels on, they can never be a professional BMX rider.
Right. So what I'm saying is, you never want people to take, hey, I see you faltering. I'm going to make sure you have those training wheels on. I don't want you to falter. Why ever take them off? Bob says, every question is a question to understand in the world. If we, quote unquote, ask a question, then there is no dumb question in our world. Drew says, if having the golden nugget for someone to get a benefit is a problem for others, then you are overthinking it.
Yeah.
If people don't want the gold nugget, then they can consume a satchel of riches.
I love you, Drew.
That's Shane, Street Data has caused me a what is it?
A malware malfunction.
Misfunction. Yeah.
Street Data.
The trick with advice is not being involved in the outcome. There you go.
Ooh, okay.
That's it, right?
Yeah, okay. I like
Shayna
that.
says, I am malware. Joe says, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Once bitten, twice shy. Great song. Great, right? Lisa says, yes, Scott, that's the point. Oftentimes we decide what somebody else needs, when in fact they may need
they may be ready or may actually find a different
a different way that's better. But we also but we also
Probably also do
unconsciously
unconsciously.
are seeking validation of our value. And Nate says, I learned more from the fall.
Let me finish with
Yeah.
Lisa's. So in certain respects, you're not wrong, right? So I don't know if it's
better.
I don't know if it's so much the validation, right? For me, because it does. I don't. It makes me feel good that I was able to share something that I learned.
Validation.
Is that okay? So right. So right. But because I like to see people, not that money brings happiness. I'm putting us in a financial, but I like when people are happy, right? And if I can help somebody, it's taking no skin off of my nose, right? And I can share something that I learned. Why not? And it's going to help them. I mean, people read books. That's where a lot of people get their knowledge. They always the thing, readers are leaders, right? Yep. You can cipher through all the bullshit through these books and take out the good golden nuggets that you find that will work for you. Well, this is just a human interaction. That's the book, right? This is my book. Like we talked about we were talking last week about me being in storytelling, right? Unfortunately, the way my stuff comes across is more lecture-y, right? Because I'm just trying to get the bare facts instead of telling the story. That's why people read books, right? So I like it from a human interaction standpoint. I can read books, but I don't seem to gather anywhere near the amount of knowledge that I do listening to someone like you or to Drew or Lisa, right?
Pete was great at that, right? Drew is great at that, very much the same way. Is like Pete used to read the dictionary for fun.
That's a sickness,
right? He would read the dictionary for fun. And Don knows the story. Pete is talking about paradigm, and he didn't know that paradigm was spelled, and so he called it for years paradigm until he was reading it in the dictionary, where it's like, what? I've been saying this wrong the whole time, right? But
no one corrected him.
You are that. And Drew is that. Here, it's black and white. Here are the facts. Take the facts. Fuck you if you don't want them. Fuck you if you don't understand them. Here it is. That's what it is. But
without the fuck yous.
But no, he's Italian.
He's Italian.
But he stops. He stops, and you keep going deeper into the encyclopedia with the facts
on some things. Absolutely,
right?
Yeah.
And he's like, listen. It's not going to work. You change your windshield wiper, and that's it. And you go down the hole of and then you're all of a sudden
I go to the
windshield pops out because you've gone over the embankment into a river, and the pressure pops it out. Water is going to come rushing in. Now you have 2 seconds to survive to get out, all because you didn't change your windshield wiper.
Well, and that's because of how my logic works, right? I'm very big on the if then, right? If you do this, then this will happen, right? So, and for me, it's important to understand that in my life because, when a lot of times people tell you, don't do that.
Yeah.
And not why. So don't do that. So don't do that. I want to know the why.
What makes the need that you are the one that saves them?
Well, there's no need, and I'm not trying to save. I don't.
You said, hey, when to share, not to share. If I see you going down that rabbit hole, I'm going to jump in and say, no.
I get that, but it's not. I don't have a need. Right? Like
there is.
So is enjoying something a need, right? Or is it? I don't need to do it. I do it out of love and out of not compassion. I do it out of love, and I do it out of just being what I consider a normal human, right? And I know that's a big ride. A good human. There you go. A good human, right?
No such
because
thing
that's
as normal human.
because that's because that's what I want from people, or I like to have from people, right? Because you give what you get, right? Right. Yep. So, and that's for me. If I'm going to give it to people, right? I mean, I do want it. I love it when people come up to me and will start sharing things if they know I'm going through something or trying to do something. And they come and share, granted, once again, reading the room, understanding the situation, understanding where I'm at. But I enjoy that. And maybe I am a lot different than others, and I'm a sick individual. But
we know that. There's no doubt about
that. Right? But I do enjoy it.
Yeah.
I do enjoy it because that's what's helped me move forward in my life and get through a lot of dark times.
Shana says, Scott, I think the approval you get accused of is actually fun for you. You do it for your own approval, I bet.
I definitely have fun with it. There's no doubt in the world that I have fun doing it because I love to see people succeed. I love to see people happy. I love to see people enjoying things. And if I can facilitate them and or help them get closer to whatever their goal is, whatever, however their journey's taking them, awesome.
Okay.
Right.
So
I mean, but for me, it's.
So you can't answer Lisa's question by saying, I don't know if it is.
Which question?
Says, who says your way is better?
Nobody, and I'm not saying it's better, and that's where my lecture versus storytelling comes off, right? So, and that's, I might not be, but hey, you know what? I went through a similar situation, and this is what worked for me. Now it's up to you, the person I gave that information to decipher that and go, you know what? Like I've said many times on the show, you guys make me look at things many times differently than I would have before because I question myself. But so it's up to me now to use that information and say, yeah, it's good for me. Or no, it's bad for me, or I could use a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
It. Yeah, that's it. So Don says the Pete Paretta gym story. He said it wrong for years and years and years. Don was the first one to tell him that he was saying it wrong. Others had just let him pronounce it wrong. He appreciated something. I knew it was something. Yeah, Don. That's right. Okay. Don corrected, but I was like, he had said it wrong for years and years and years. And right. he.
Or is it wrong? I mean, syllable, tomato. I mean, so. But yeah,
he said we had a great laugh about it, and then Pete died of COVID.
But back to finishing Lisa's question is like, I don't know.
You didn't put that.
I don't know, right? And I don't know if my way is better, but I know that the way that I did it worked for me, right? And so this is what worked for me. You decipher if it's going to work for you, right? And that's all I'm getting at. And when, that's why it's when to share or not to share, right? Do I give you my nuggets, my golden nuggets? I mean, people always, when you're doing things, people ask,
I am not touching your nuggets, right? Even if they are golden.
How did you get there? What did you do? What makes you any different? Well, the fact is I question everything. I ask people, I'm not looking for oversharing, but I'm looking for those golden nuggets from people. I'm looking for, what's worked for them in the world and what they're doing, because I'm not going to lose anything by listening to them other than some time, which is very important. But if it's a person that I care about and a person that, I value their opinions, I'm going to listen to them. Mm-hmm. And that's, once again, it's going to come down to reading the room, time, place, person, situation.
Yeah. Shana says, did I already read this? I don't see it as better as much as more information. It might be garbage. Might be a garbage choice, but to make the best decision, things should be considered. Yeah. So Shana, I'm the same way. I am.
You got to have all the facts.
I am over curious. Sometimes I'm more than curious, which would make me bi-curious.
Coming next for a new show.
That's right.
The Bi-Curious Boys.
So I ask a lot of questions, right? And I'm the type of guy at this point in my life, right? Earlier in my life, I would be different, where I'd be like, I'd ask Scott a question. If he starts going, I go, I got enough. We're fine. I got enough.
Or you would shut people down?
Oh yeah. Again,
I'm done. Thank you.
Again, I've learned to value my time differently as I get older. But if you're rambling and it doesn't make sense to me, and you're just going because you're going, I'll listen. That's good. Just let's go. I got. Thank you.
No, I get that.
Right?
I get that.
So to me, and that's why I ask questions. I don't ever jump in and give you my opinion. I don't do it with my kids, right? My kids will tell you. My 14-year-old is traumatized by me trying to help her with math, right? Because I understand the question, and my way of helping her with math is reading it slower, as if she's a retard, right? Jimmy has 2 apples. Are we there? You've got 2 apples, right? And all my kids say is like, Dad, all you do is continually reread the question. I'm like, yes, because I don't understand how you don't understand. Jimmy has 2 apples. He gives 1 away. How many does he have? Right? How do you not understand this?
Right. Well, you're slowing down so you can focus
and
ingest.
And I love math. I'm very good at math, but my daughter would rather mom or somebody who's not as good at math help her with math. And then until it's like, just go ask your father. And then I ask, do you want me to help you or do you not want me to help you? Because if I'm going to help you, right, I'm going to read slow because you're a retard. Right?
I don't like that word, so I'm going to scratch that off. Somewhere that's slower. I got in trouble 2 years ago for saying that word. You don't remember? They just scalded me.
Yeah.
And I don't mean it negatively, but I get what you're saying. Somebody that's slower doesn't understand it because, like, for me, word problems was nuts, right? I would have appreciated someone to come in like you to do that, right? To help me understand it because I didn't know I had ADHD, right? I just was a fun-loving, happy-go-lucky, couldn't sit still kid, right?
Lisa says, I once had a preacher lecture me for 3 hours on how I am going to hell.
Oh, welcome to the Catholic
for
Church.
Mediumship after he asked if they changed my view. And my response was, thank you for your time. I now have seen a person. I never, what does she say there?
I've seen a person I never want to be. He thought he was right.
Yeah.
And that's, 3 hours, Christ almighty. I mean, come on.
Shana says, I was silenced by a light thinker when they said, what are you going to do with all that information? I love it.
I'd be like, nothing.
When I offer advice, Don says, I put it in a comment and throw it up on the grounds. Sorry, Don. When I offer advice, I say I could be wrong. I was wrong once back in 1994. That's not the year you got married.
Yeah.
I might. I just want to make sure. I might be wrong about being wrong in 94. All right. Shaving. What's that? Oh, shoving. Shoving of you can cause someone not to hear you as well as then refuse to ever look into that.
Oh yeah. Correct. I mean, and that's where like
True,
you're using the word should.
Seldom does a push work unless you're on a ledge.
No, right.
Scary, Scott.
No, sorry, Scott.
Oh, sorry, Scott.
I don't know. What's she saying sorry for?
Probably because you have to put
sit
up
here
with me every Friday morning.
I love it. But hey, whatever you're saying sorry for, don't be sorry. I'm me and I love me.
No way did Lisa say that.
Yeah, don't ever be sorry for what you say.
She was stuck.
Yeah.
It was a family function and he was a relative. I also found his persistence fascinating.
He should be a salesman.
2 years ago.
Oh, is that you the one that probably gave me the crap?
Right.
That's okay. And that's what I love about everybody that chimes in and talking about this because
I'm not calling my kids mentally handicapped.
No, I'm saying you said you had to bring them down
because retard means
right.
slow.
You had to bring them down to a lower level to help them understand.
It's
nothing wrong with that.
I'm not using a hard E in there.
Oh, so it's the hard E, soft E.
Right. Yeah. No, it's a retard.
Right. Okay. Gotcha.
To retard is too slow. Right?
To slow. Well, it's like if you're doing your timing in your car, you retard your timing.
Correct.
Yeah. You
dumb it down. Inspire others. Don't dictate. Better chance of changing someone's mind on something.
Absolutely. I mean, so in a way, you could really bring that down to if you're giving the right information, something that could inspire them to keep moving forward instead of stopping, right? This is what worked for me. Oh my God, I didn't think about that. It inspires them to keep pushing forward. Right. And that's what
a lot of times I'll ask the question, especially in coaching and working with people, is, hey, I might have an idea that would work in this situation if you're open to hearing it.
That's a great line.
And then if they're like, I'm not open to hearing, I'm not sharing. Okay. But at the same time,
but you put it out there.
But at the same time, if they don't ask, whatever. I'm not
right.
I mean, a prophet's not a prophet in their hometown, right? That's biblical. I don't care. Right. I love people. If you and your family ended up in a ditch, I would go, Scott, you ended up in a ditch. Why don't we take you in? I've got room in my house, right? I'll help you get back up. The fall is on you.
Well, of course.
Right?
Yeah.
The fall
you have
is
no
on
control over
you. Had a bad listen, if you come to me because I do this one thing and you chose not to open up or ask me for that one area of expertise that perhaps I'm good at, and you had a bad experience, I don't feel bad for you.
Well, no, and I get that, right?
But I also don't think that I'm good enough to go, well, it would have been a great experience with me, right? I don't know, but I'm not going to, hey, well, you and your family are out in, listen, I'll be the first one, for instance, I'm going to use Lisa, for instance, right? Is when Pete passed away, Lisa jumped on. She she went to work for Pete's family. She loved Pete. They had a great relationship, and set up the GoFundMe. Did this? Hey, Kent, let's make sure we do this, right? And you can go back and watch it. She was a wreck. I mean, it was the day before Thanksgiving, or the day after Thanksgiving, whatever it was. She was a wreck, right? But she didn't ask for permission to set that up. That's a cool thing. There's sometimes where you have to do that. And his family was very, very, very grateful that she did that. Right. But she didn't say, okay, now that we've got this $15,000, this is how you have to use it. Right.
Right.
Because you're going to go through this, and this. It's like, no, oh my God, here. Right. So that's the right time to share. Right. But it didn't come with strings going, listen, if you just spend this $15,000 on heroin because you're depressed, you're going to get addicted. You're probably going to, you know what I mean? She didn't go into all that. It was like, here it is, done. It's yours. Take it. Do whatever you want to with it.
Well, what?
Right.
Well,
whatever.
Right. Well, I mean, if you, you're saying she shared, she basically, for me, I look at it, she used her knowledge, right, to give them something that she felt was needed at the time, monetarily wise, right? She used her knowledge, her information to give that to them. She didn't share, but she didn't share, right, information based on how you explained it. She didn't share any information. She did something to help better them because that's what she thought would help them, right? She thought it was her decision to do it, right? Yeah. But she didn't share anything with them. She didn't go and say, hey, look, this is what I would do, or this is in my situation, based on what you told me. She wasn't giving any information to share for them to get better, to grow, to, right. To understand, to be part of the situation. So she gave them an opportunity.
The life you live through actions will always teach the most. Those that will come. Sometimes you light a candle for someone where they walk with it
when it's not on you,
right? Where they walk with it is not on you, so you give them a candle, right?
Right.
The gift is a transaction if it comes with expectations. Correct.
Well, that is, I mean, that is a gift, right? But right. It's not. She's not. Yes, right. You shared your time, you shared your knowledge, right?
Right.
Right. But it wasn't, when you did that, it wasn't like an intrusive share, and that's kind of what Kent is getting at here, right? Like what we're talking about, when to share, when to not to share, reading the room, understanding. Mm-hmm. That was a perfect time to share. That is what I wish more people would do in this world, right? When something happens like that to people, you compassionately went out there and said, I'm going to do this for them because you knew it was just the right thing to do, right? I mean, and that's what you did. You shared part of your time, your life, your energy, your expertise to help out Pete's wife. I can't remember her name, but to help out his family, right? And that's a beautiful, wonderful thing. The world doesn't have enough people like you, right? I mean, and I mean, I know I'm living in a fantasy world, huh?
Mary Margaret.
I know I'm living in a fantasy world of how I want to see the world go, right?
So
and that's okay. It's my life.
So stop. Get out of the fantasy world. Come back to reality.
No, I like where I'm at.
Right.
I like where I'm at. And
as Coach from Cheers said, hey, Scott's in his own world, but that's okay. Everybody there knows him. Right.
That's right.
Yeah. So I like that, though, is you just light a candle. Where they take it and what path they walk is up to them.
But if you lit the candle.
Right. But a lot of times overshare, or Mary Catherine. Yeah. Thank you. Mary something. I knew it was Mary.
Mary Margaret was the nun.
Mary Margaret Mall, I was thinking, right? And unless snot crying on the air is my expertise, I didn't give any expertise. Correct. Yeah, I was right. Anyway, here's the deal is a lot of times I think where you're asking is you light the candle and then tell them, listen, you got to hold it like this. And then you got to walk with your back to the wind, but you got to go there, you got to go there, and you got to go there, you got to go there, because that's what I did once.
No, that's in that scenario. That wouldn't be because that's nothing that they, I mean, depending on.
All right, so if you see me, let's reverse.
Yeah, reverse the role.
Let's reverse this. You see me and my family struggling financially, and we're going to go bankrupt and lose everything.
Mm-hmm. I have information that can help you not go bankrupt, right?
Yep. I don't ask for it.
Right. But as a friend, right, like you said earlier, for me, it's a tough situation. It's something that obviously I'd have to go into it a little bit deeper in my head. But for me, yes, I would kind of come to you and pose you the question, be like, dude, hey, I understand things are going on wrong, right? Or tough right now. I love you to death. is there anything I can do to help you? Right. Opening that door. Right.
I go, no.
Okay. And then for me, I would look at it and be like, one time be like, you sure? Be like, don't be afraid or ashamed. I've been in some situations before in my life, and this is me. Yeah, and do I overshare? Right.
Hey, bro, times are tough right now. They really are. But we got it.
Right. And that's fine. And if you decide not to accept my information, that's right. That's I don't want to say it's on you, but it's on you, right? And I'm still going to feel bad if you go down, right? Or it's still gonna be unsettling for me. But at least in my heart, I know that I was trying to do the right thing, because everyone has hard times and we don't always think straight, right? And God knows I'm one of them, right? I mean, the amount of fuck ups that I've made because I'm not thinking straight, and I didn't push for outside intervention, right, or information because of being afraid and so on and so forth. So I mean, and once again, case by case. But in that case, dude, I would absolutely come to you, because
but you didn't share anything. You just asked a question.
But I came to you trying to open that line of communication, right? And depending on where it was really at, and I mean,
so you didn't share anything.
Well,
shared your concern, quote unquote.
I shared my concern, right, and let you know that I'm here, right? And you can't do any much more than that. So I can lead a horse to water, but I can't make him drink, right? I can give you all the information in the world to potentially get you out of the situation, and it's up to you to do it. But
so and that's who I am. You've seen me on this show, you've seen me on this station a lot say, listen, I don't have enough information to answer that question or talk about that topic, so let me do some research. We can come back to it on the next show.
You like to be informed.
Unfortunately, Drew lost his his brother about a year ago, and everybody is like, oh, I'm so sorry for your loss, blah, blah, blah. And I told him, I'm like, this shit sucks. Now, Drew, I can't give you any advice. All my brothers are still alive.
Been through it,
but I'll walk with you through this. And if you need anything, I'm going to be right by your side.
And that's what a good human does.
And we went through some shit, he and I, right? But I still didn't give him any advice, because I don't know.
Couldn't.
I don't know what
you could, but you couldn't. But if you did, if you'd been through it before, that's a tough line. That's a tough line, right? Because each relationship is very different. But if you had been through it before, you could definitely be more compassionate and empathetic, because you know where he's coming from. Right now, you have no idea where he's coming from, right? So you don't know where his head's at, where his emotions are. So for you to be so audacious, have the audacity to try to chime in and say, hey, bro, this, that, and the other, you're an asshole, right? Because that's not what you're there for. But if you have something that potentially could help him to deal through this situation, you're an asshole if you don't try, in my mind, right? If you don't try to share that with him. Because if you truly love and care about the person, and you can help ease a little bit of their pain, make things a little bit easier, I want to do that, right? Because that's what I want done. That's what I would like done for me. And that's what I think, that we were put on this earth for. People will say God did this, love your children. I think that's what we're here for. We've lost sight, really, of what life should be.
Because you like it in your life that way. And I'm not saying you, right? I'm saying there are people that like it in their life that way. Okay.
You can pick on me all you want.
No, I'm not. We assume that everybody else wants. I mean, that's why social media is a wreck. That's why the United States is a wreck, because I think you need to think like me. Right. And the honest to God truth is, that's the way I like it. So I'm going to. Hey, I love the Latter-day Saints, right? And I love Jesus. But if you knock on my door because you want to share the love of Christ with me, listen. I got time.
You have the option not to answer that door,
right? So, but 9 times out of 10, I'm the guy who's like, you need an iced tea? Let's go in the back and talk, because I'd love to just get in there and scramble that brain a little bit.
Right. But you opened up, but you allowed that. You gave it to him, right?
But what I'm saying is, a lot of times I think to share, not to share, is I would want you to share with me, so I'm going to share with you, right? And I'm the guy who's like, I don't want you to share with me, because I'm okay, right?
Right.
So,
I get that.
Right. So I think a lot of times we push our energy that, hey, if I was in your position, I would want you to do this for me. So I'm going to go ahead and do it for you. And that's not that I don't even do that with my own kids. Right. Hey, My daughter got in an accident the other night.
Oh,
It's a little fender bender. She slid on ice. They weren't going fast, and she's all shook up. She's calling me, and I'm like, all right, deep breath. I mean, you're going to be a paramedic. Anybody hurt? No. Okay, deep breath. Do you need me there? Right? A lot of parents would, where are you at? I'll come running. She goes, no, I don't. Okay. You're off the street? Yeah, okay. Did you call the police? No, she doesn't want to call the police. Call the police. Hang up right now. Call the police. Call me back. Right? Go take pictures. Walk her through things, right? Because she was shook. She'd never been in a wreck before. It wasn't bad. Nobody was hurt again. Going under 15 miles an hour. Just slid on some ice. Right? And so we walk her through that, right? And I said, hey, I'm at your sister's ball game. If you want me there, I can be there. It was over on 170 Terracotta there in Crystal Lake. I was like, hey, I'll come running. Right? She goes, no, I'm okay. Okay, handle this. This is part of being an adult. I don't have my insurance card. Okay, I'll text you. We got that. Fine, you'll be all right.
Right.
And she handled it right. Yeah. Screw you, Don. Everybody's sliding on ice up here, right? And so I didn't tell her a story. She's like, the lady said not to call the police. I said, call the police. She's going to go home and start beating that thing with a baseball bat. And it's going to look like, make sure you got pictures. Right. And the police came and everything was fine. And it's, there's no big deal. There's minimal damage to both cars. Right. The airbags didn't go off, anything like that. So, but it's something that I didn't go into a diatribe of, well, my first accident, right.
That's the wrong place and time to do that. Right. You just get her through her situation.
Hey, she brought the car over. I looked at the car. Nothing's leaking. It looks good. We're out there and I'm like, all right, everybody gets in an accident. If you drive,
right, it's bound to happen. Right, but you did what was right for the situation, right? You kind of, you knew what. Just tell it. She asked questions. You told her what to do and moved through it. There was nothing.
Right. I think she was appreciative.
Right. There was no time to tell a story.
But I didn't go. All right, now listen. Here's what you want to do, because if you don't do this, and this is going to happen.
Well, you did though. You said take pictures. Right?
That's it.
You said
but I didn't
take pictures, call the cops,
right?
Because she's going to do this. So you gave her the scenario of what could happen, right? Like with the windshield wiper thing, you went from just, oh, don't worry about calling the cops to, okay, call the cops, take pictures, take care of this.
But I didn't scot it and going, and then you're going to be in the courtroom, and the courtroom's going to have this, and it's he said, she said, and then you're going to have to pay for an attorney, and then you're going to go to jail because you did this, and then she's going to get a lot of money.
You started going down that road, but you stopped, right? And that's where the oversharing, right, or over information sometimes can be detrimental, and I get that, and that's why the whole premise of this.
But yeah, so I mean, when you do it again, right? It's better to just to be there for them. They called. She called. Right. I would have come running as a dad, right? You do that for your kids.
Yeah. Yeah, you gave her the information she needed when she needed it, right?
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. And you had no opportunity really to read the room on that one, right? That was, she called, she had an issue, you gave her the information she needed, and it helped her out because and you use that logical statement. Hey, this happened, well, this could too. So make sure you cover your ass.
Sure.
Take pictures. So, I mean, you went kind of down the same road, but you just stopped it, right? Instead of continuing going, because if you don't, then she's going to take you to court, and then you're going to have to prove that, you know what I mean? You didn't go into the full scenario, where that's something I'm learning better to do, is to understand where to stop, where people's eyes don't glaze over, right? Because nobody wants to hear all my shitty stories, right? But I think
you do. You want to hear them. That's why you tell them.
Some days, absolutely. Fuck yeah, I do. I mean, I'd be lying if I said no, but because I enjoy my life. I enjoy what I do. And I want to help people have,
so
the life that they want.
So where we at to share or not to share is, I think you don't just get up on your soapbox and start sharing.
No, absolutely. That's a lecture. That's right.
Right. So instead, you're going to lead with that question, like, hey, I've been down this road. Is
there anything I can help you with? Right.
I'm here if you need me, whatever the case may be. And then it's okay. And then at that time, if they're like, yeah, okay, Scott, how do I get out of this? And you're like, well, what I did is gave bone marrow. I sold a kidney on the black market and moved 45 kilos of, Puerto Rican Bam Bam, I don't know.
Allegedly.
I don't know. right? And you're like, oh, and I'm like, and of course I spent 6 months in a in a Mexican prison for it, but hey,
Got to tell you that.
But we got out of the situation, right? No, allegedly, people, right? Yeah,
Right.
preaching isn't the same thing. I agree, right? So I think it's hey, do you want to hear? Do you want this advice? Do you want
Right.
and again, you can't feel bad if the person's like nope, and they fall down. But again, you don't leave them alone and go, I could have saved you from this, you dumbass. It's like,
Oh no, you never
right?
do that. That's an idiot.
There's
move.
people out there who do.
I know there is, and that's
right?
an idiot.
And
move.
I think it's like, hey man, let's get you back up, let's dust you off, let's figure this out and move forward.
Let's figure it out.
Right.
I want to help you. You know what I mean? And that's really the premise of the thing. And like I said, really it, the broken record, it is time and place and it's each situation, but being able to kind of try to get inside someone's mind a little bit and maybe like I was saying with you, you know what I mean? Trying to understand, hey, is he embarrassed? Is he
I don't care.
Right. But I mean, in my head, because if you're not looking for help, why? Right. Because if there's a way to save somebody. So, and that's just me. I do analyze things.
So with that, I say this person, the universe has them going down this path. God has them going down. It's not my lesson to teach them. This is, they're going to, it is what it is.
Okay. It is what it is. I mean, I know you hate that statement, but it is what it is. Right. And
I live by that statement.
Yeah, it is what it is. And it's an everyday thing, but well, I appreciate everybody's input. Yep. I really do. It's been an awesome show. We are over today, guys. Go out, be the change you want to see in the world. And if you want to share with me, I'd love to listen to you. I'm always looking just to hang out, have fun, enjoy. And if I can learn from you, great. If not, we'll still have fun. I love each and every one of you from tuning in every week. And please stick with us. We got all kinds of tons of great shows still today. Let Kent go ahead and run them down for you. And have a great week, guys.
Yep.
Love you all.
Of course, if you're up here in the Great White North, drive carefully, be safe, stay warm. Don, good luck on the flight. And if you bump into Magic Johnson out there in LA, tell him I said hi.
Shoot to score.